Okay, in case you're wondering what's going on now, this is just to show a little bit of what you gotta go through to get the tires off this. You have to not only drop the suspension by unhooking the shocks, which you just saw in fast motion, and getting the car up really high. I'll have to get it up higher, I'm sure. But you also have to disconnect the drive shaft so that you can lower the rear end to the ground. I guess I could remove the... No, I could not. I was getting ready to say this is the track locator stabilizer bar right here. I was thinking, well, I guess I could remove it, but that would do no good because there is also a cross member further up that the drive shaft would hit if I were to lower the rear end. So this is the only option, is removing the drive shaft. It's been a while since these bolts are been off here, I guess. Well, no, last year we took them off. They're just tight, which they should be. Sure don't want them coming loose. Sure you can't see on the other side of the drive shaft, just removing my U-bolts. These are some high strength U-bolt clamps. I can't even remember who I bought them from. I bought them a long time ago with ARP bolts and nuts. The U-joints are usually the weakest length of any drivetrain, so you got about well, you don't have to, but you should buy the best stuff you can for that to hold up on an old car like this. Chain is no stronger than its weakest link, as they say. Okay, and we get to take a good look at these U-joints. I probably should inspect them. I know we're going to grease them. Not going to do that right at this moment. We'll wait until we... And as you can see, I don't have a lot of slot here. This drive shaft could almost stand to be a little bit shorter. I've had no trouble out of it though. Okay, usually I go a lot higher so that the tire will come straight out. I want to see if I can get by with what I've got. I got an extension I can put on my jack and hook to the frame and get it higher. I just want to see how this works out real quick. Just want to get one off because the slicks I ordered, I accidentally, well, the slicks that I have are 14-32-15s, meaning it's a 14-inch tread, 32 inches tall, and for a 15-inch rim. What I ordered, I thought I ordered the exact same thing, are 14-32-15W, 15 wide. I'm not sure if that's just tread or sidewall. I'm sure both tread and sidewall are slightly wider. I think I had wides on this at one time. I'm not sure. It's been so long. I'm not sure if they'll rub or not. I'm not really too crazy about the idea of having to ship them back. So, we'll see. See what the difference is. And yeah, with these long studs, I'm going to have to go up higher with the car. Could have went up a little higher, but that'll do it. Now, how much? It's hard to tell with one full of air and one not. But, you know what? Okay, tread slightly wider. Which means the sidewall will be. I'm going to take a gamble and mount this and see. I'm going to try out the trusty old tire breaker here. I have a tire breaker, I have a Harbor Freight tire changer actually, which has a breaker on it, which I have bolted to the floor in the storage shed. But these are way too wide for the breaker on it to work. This usually works pretty good. Okay, now it's the next day. My tire breaker did not come through for me on this particular wheel break or tire breakdown because these tires have been on here for 5 years, and if you watched my previous videos I said something about using Dawn dishwashing liquid on the bead because it glues them on there and you don't have to screw the slicks to the rim, which is a good thing. You don't want them coming off when you're racing. But the bad thing is, if they've been on there for a long time, like these have, they're almost impossible to break the bead. I ended up cutting the tire. Angel, she was right behind me. And anyway, ended up cutting the tire. Almost fell over backwards because my dog was trying to trip me. Anyway, had to cut them off, which really kind of sucks because usually I can get 50 to 100 bucks for a pair of used slicks. Meaning I could take them to the track and sell them. People want them to because they maybe want to put them on a car that has lower horsepower, or they just want to use them to test fit while building a car. But I won't be selling those, obviously. So the next thing I need to do is I need to clean my rim, clean the bead, and what I do for that is I use steel wool soap pads, and also has some 150 grit emery cloth. It can be finer. Okay, also have a warm bucket of soapy water. Oh, delete that first part, Mark. Okay, I have a warm bucket of, delete that, Mark. Alright, I've got a bucket of hot soapy water here. And I'm going to go ahead and use my rubber gloves. I should have used them last night. Would have got my hands so dirty with all them old handling them dirty tires. And what I usually do, just dip the pad in the hot soapy water. And that takes that sticky rubber right off of there. And if there are any burrs that I put on there from the from prying the tire off, that's what that 150 grit sandpaper is for. It gets all them little nicks and burrs off of there. So this is coming up, unbelievably, this is coming off very easy considering how tough these tires were glued onto these rims. Okay, I don't think I've used this tire changer on video before, so I'm going to explain it to you. It's a Harbor Freight, $69, I think it was on sale, just a manual tire changer, and it works pretty decent. One thing, I need to make some hubs. Let me turn that screen around so that I know for sure you can see what I'm doing here. But I need to make some hubs instead of this. These tend to dig into aluminum. These are very old wheels and I've seen a lot of tire changes, so if I scuff them up, don't freak out. And let me adjust this. Got the tripod on some uneven ground. I'm trying to keep the camera out of the wind, but I can't put it inside this shed because the sunlight will ruin your view. But for now, I am going to make some hubs, or I may drill some holes for these lug nuts. I was tempted to do that today, but last night took me a lot longer to break these tires down than I thought. I thought I had these tires on today, so we're not going to do that today. I can take any Ford 5 lug rim one day and nothing more important is going on, and drill those holes so that next time I can just bolt the rim to this, and this will lock against the studs and hopefully not tear it up. See, I had to flip the rim back around, and because you can't, maybe you could with a expensive shop tire changer, but I would really like to be able to mount the tire going on this way, because there's the back of the rim and any scratching I do is not going to show, but that is nearly impossible to get it past this big long ledge here, the bead that is, so that it goes over to here. So that's why I have to do it from the side that shows, because this has a smaller ledge, and once you get the first part of the tire over, it just falls down to that. I'm going to tighten this down. And the thing is, if you do scratch and nick them, I mean, it's best not to. I need to make some things for this changer and to buy some aluminum spoons so that I don't damage my aluminum rims. I mean, it's not good to not care about not damaging your rims, but these are old rims, and if you damage aluminum, you can sand that out and polish it back. So like I said before, the dishwashing liquid serves two things. Helps you get the rim on, slide on easier, and it will glue that tire to the rim, which is why I had to cut the old one off. And if you think that I shouldn't do it because it was too difficult to remove, having to do that is much better. Make sure my hands are clean, wipe them on my pants. It's much better than having that rim or tire spin on the rim while the car is launching. In case you're wondering, this tire changer is bolted to the floor. Okay. This is the hardest part. Almost got it. There we go. I like that. Going on is a lot easier than going off sometimes. Now this side will be harder. In case you're wondering, why don't he take it to the tire shop? Because most shops, at least in this immediate area, there are some speed shops, get a little nervous when you roll into the parking lot with a big set of these in the truck bed. They don't want to fool with it. They're afraid of lawsuits and stuff. There are some shops that specialize in that stuff, but I like to know for sure that my rim bead is clean. And once that's done, the hard part is over. So why should I let them charge me to do the easy part? Maybe I should pay them just to break them off, break them down, and then let me do the rest. I don't know. But when they're not too stubborn, they're really not that hard to break down. Yes, I know I shouldn't use screwdrivers. I'm marking my rims, but these are old rims. Looks a lot easier on video than it really is. Okay, here's my electronic gauge. I can't believe it still has a good battery in it, which I just bought it last year, and I did store it in the house. I don't know how high this thing goes. I need to look that up. I only got 7 pounds. We'll pump it up to 20. And take it back down to 10 and then try to put it on a car. We want to see if it rubs anywhere. Now for the moment of truth. Let's see if these 15 wides will fit this car. I'm not sure if this jack will raise this rear end high enough. I may need to put a spacer under it. Okay, we're almost to the shock, but we got to remember the shock is compressed. I forgot how much. I think 13.5 inches is the correct ride height for the shock. So, let's see how that looks. Oh, it's rubbing. You know what? Yeah, it is rubbing there. That has been cut out, and I may get criticized for it, but I think I'm going to go ahead and get my trusty sander, and I may trim that out. But, oh no, don't cut on the car. Well, I got news for you. Originally, This body line went down to here. It's been trimmed out. I'm going to trim it out some more because I don't want to send these slicks back. I think everything else, it looks good on the inside. Let's see what my ride height is. Quick little part of this video we're going to do on the bubble balancer. As you can see, it's pretty close. These slicks and these wheels are usually pretty close to being balanced with no help. But as you can see, I could use a little more weight on that side. And maybe I'm right or maybe I'm not right on this, but when you use a bubble balancer, when you set the wheel down on top of it, not only do you make sure it's seated in the center of that cone, which is spring loaded, but whichever part of the side of the wheel has the deeper dish, which in this case is the outside of the wheel, you want that facing down, because if I were to flip this over right now and put this side on the face, meaning this side would be on the bottom and on the face of the bubble balancer, this thing would lay over just like it was way impossibly out of balance. So, and then if you flip it over to where the deepest wheel well is facing the floor, you usually it's closer. And so that makes me believe that's the way the wheel should sit on the balancer. But I have some weights from Harbor Freight. Sorry about that. And I need to cut that. But go ahead and put this camera on the tripod. But I have some weights from Harbor Freight. Stick-on weights. Pretty cheap. You get a large assortment. This does not have to be perfect. Yes, computerized balancing is closer and better. Although some old school drag racers will argue that a spin balancer will work correctly on a racing slick because they are so thin-walled and tend to shake. At least that's what I was told by some older guys. And I respect the guys who have been around for a while and done this for longer than me, so I do listen to them. Even if I don't agree with them, I keep what they say in mind and take it into consideration, because if you have trouble, you can always refer back to what the guy told you and say, hey, you know what, he was right. I think we're going to stick those, and that's right where the old weights were, so that makes me feel even more confident. And I've already cleaned that off with a sander. I am going to get a clean rag and some mineral spirits. Not mineral spirits, but some lacquer thinner. Mineral spirits has oil in it. We don't want that. These stick pretty good. I've never had any trouble with them coming off. Let's see, if it fell off, I'd probably never know the difference. Because a friend of mine that also mounts his slicks himself, he doesn't even bother to check the balance on them. He just puts them on with no weights, and they feel smooth. So, like I said, these rims are usually pretty close to being balanced anyway. They're a good, high quality, expensive rim, even though mine are old and beat up. And these tires are also usually pretty close too. They're not cheap, so they should be. Okay. I could probably use one more weight there, but I think I'm going to leave it right there. It's pretty darn close. It's almost all inside the circle. I'll let you get a good close look at it. And that's pretty much all there is to bubble balancing. Like I said, I could add a little bit more. I don't think I'm going to feel it. Okay, as you can see, we got it on the ground. We got them to fit. Yes, I did trim this fender well quite a bit. The other side didn't need much. It's still a little closer than I want it. I know that looks extremely close. If there's any rub marks, after I take it down the track. I don't think it's bad enough to where it'll cause anything bad to happen, but we'll know after I make a pass. We'll see if there's any rub marks on the tires. But we got enough clearance to where it's not gonna, shouldn't do that. I don't know, I may want to still, now that it's on the ground and I can really see it on the way of the car, I may still take a Dremel bit, clear that out. This I can't do nothing with. Well, I could, but it would, I'd have to redo some body work. But this here I can just trim, at least get it away from the corner of that tire. I'll probably do that with a Dremel bit, because that is awful close. And when you rock the car back and forth, which it ain't going to be doing that much moving around going straight down the track, at least it shouldn't. But we got to remember, the slicks do swell up when you do a burnout, but usually that what draws the sidewall in. So this side I didn't have to trim much at all. I cut a little bit out of there, but that's it for this video. They're on there. I'm going to try them. I wish I ordered the correct size, but like I said, the description was a little misleading. It did not say they were the 15 wides, but hey, good news is we can get wider tires on it, so it ain't nothing that can't be fixed. And we have adequate, can't really see, it's kind of dark, but we got clearance between the frame rails. That's good. The oil, in case you're wondering, is from the jack, not the car. But we'll call that a video. And I guess the next video after this one, we'll be taking it down to the track. Thanks for watching.